Cosplay handle is Jayveeka, and in case you haven't guessed, this is a panel all about skits. I've been cosplaying for 10 years, and through that time I've entered a lot of competitions, and one of my favourite things about the competitions has always been the skits. But not everybody has got the guts or the know-how or whatever kind of obstacle it is that's stopping them to actually follow through on the idea of, maybe taking a skit in with their entry, or just doing one for fun even. So I run an event in Auckland called Cosplay Theatre, which is all about getting to do skits just for fun with no pressure of competitions. And I also like to do panels like this one to help people get an idea of, actually, here's how I could get started. Maybe this isn't so hard after all. This is also a repeat of a panel I did a couple of years ago, so if there's anything in here you've heard before, I'm sorry if it's not new news to you. But anyway, we may as well start at the very beginning, which is what is a skit? In the context of cosplay, a skit is a short performance that you act out either in front of a live audience or on video. There's a big trend these days of doing short skits for YouTube channels. You see people like Corridor Digital and Rocket Jump and all that kind of thing doing cosplay skits in video, which is really cool. In conventions, we don't quite have that facility to do that, but we can still have a lot of fun with it. And just like with movies and YouTube videos and all that jazz, skits come in a variety of genres. And with those genres, even more subgenres. We're going to just look at kind of the broader genres today rather than go down too nitty-gritty, but Google's a thing, YouTube's a thing. Start searching for your genre of choice and barreling down from there, and I'm sure you'll find plenty to look at. For starters, let's talk about the most comfortable genre for most people, which is comedy. As a genre, this is great because it's easy to engage your audience with humour, as opposed to trying to engage them with drama, which sometimes falls flat. The flip side of it, though, is that it can be a little bit hard to write jokes that people will get, especially if you're theming your skit around your subject matter. If you were doing a skit about Persona 5, for example, I can guarantee maybe 3 people in this room would know what jokes I was making. Sometimes it's a good idea to try and diversify your content a little bit so that people will still understand the jokes, even if they're not familiar with the subject matter. One thing that works really well with this example of mine that I'm going to show you is that it relies on a shared context that everyone in the audience has, which is Armageddon. Theme being that everybody in the room will know what Armageddon is like, and therefore will find, hopefully, this skit funny. This is one we did a few years back at Christchurch Armageddon, I think, maybe 2010, so not a new one. But it works at Armageddon, it wouldn't work at an open mic comedy night, for example.
People everywhere I thought that was the end of the world.
Apparently not. Look at this.
Oh, they're having a pillow fight.
Elizabeth. Oh, but she needs another opportunity to beat living daylights out of people.
It's a really weird feeling to realize that, like, 8 years later, I still remember all the words to that song that we wrote. I haven't watched it in about 8 years as well, which is kind of alarming. Harder to approach than a comedy skit. A serious narrative-based skit, when done well, can be remembered for a long, long time to come. Just like with a comedy skit, your audience will tune out if your skit is something that they can't relate to. So for me, what I found works best is to appeal to people's emotions. People may not relate to the idea that, oh no, it's the end of the world, annihilation, we're all going to die. But they will recognize the way that your character is feeling in that situation if you can dial up the emotions. This next skit is an onstage reenactment of something that happens in the series, but it's written in a way that tugs at your emotions and makes you feel for the character.
Welcome, everyone, to tonight's performance. This song is dedicated to two people I love. I've titled it Clover. Today, I will die. I was part of the Clover experiment. According to the strength of our abilities, gathered psychics were ranked from 1 leaf to 4. The 4 leaves were the most powerful. I was only 1 leaf. And my only power was to predict my own death. No matter what I did, no matter who I was with, I only knew I was running out of time. I used to think I could never pull myself into anything. But my singing and Kazuhiko, it was different. I am happy. Goodbye, Sue. Please, be happy.
They say 4-leaf clovers bring happiness, but please, keep it a secret.
This one was done by Anita, who's sitting in the middle here, and it's still one of my favorite skits I've ever seen, so thank you. One of the wonderful things about that skit is how cleverly it's written. It tells you all about the series and ropes in your emotions. It really gets you into the series, even though you've never seen it, because unfortunately Clover is not as well known as it should be. But clever skit writing isn't just limited to the verbal components of a skit. In our next genre, action and physical special effects, the goal is to engage the audience with performance elements more than the spoken elements. So the clever writing comes in taking a physical gimmick of sorts and then using that to creatively surprise and delight the audience. The best way to approach this skit type is to pick an aspect of the source material, whether that be magic, technology, fighting styles, and bring it to life for your audience. It is worth noting that different competitions have different rules. It's worth checking out the health and safety details before you go ahead and try and do something breaking the belief. But anyway, this example is great as it brings the seemingly physically impossible to life.
Hello, and welcome to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center. We hope your brief detention in the relaxation vault has been a pleasant one. We are now ready to begin the test. The program will begin in 3, 2, 1. storage cube on the 1500 megawatt aperture science refuge to super colliding super bubble. We have a lot of tests to do.
Still in the physical performance vein, the dance or song skit is harder to do than it sounds. The three key things to remember for these skits is relevance, originality, and performing well. Don't just dance for the sake of it. Can you tell a story through your dance? Do the choreography yourselves, or if you're borrowing from source material, then put your own spin on it, like extra props or some physical special effects. Otherwise, the audience has probably seen it all before. And most of all, do it well, because the audience can be a harsh mistress, unfortunately, and they aren't fans of 2 minutes of people just kind of caramel dancing or what have you. There's another throwback reference from about the time that I wrote this panel. Our example here is great, because not only is it performed well, and it tells us about the relationships between the characters through the dance movements, and its entirely original choreography. We tend to think that this one is, something that can't be done if you're by yourself. You can't really do the performance, but it's completely not true. The key to doing a solo skit well is to make the most of your pre-recorded audio. Just because no one else is physically on stage with you, it doesn't mean you have to rely on conversation. It doesn't mean you can't have a conversation with another character. Even if it's just you, you still have your props with you as well. This skit is a really good example of both conversation with another character and using your props. At this point of what skits actually are, let's talk about how we get started. The key to remember is that it's a little bit like writing a story. You need a beginning, a middle, and an ending. Having a theme to work with kind of helps too. The coming example I'm going to show you rips off a popular meme at the time, for example. Using the time limit can actually be to your advantage as well. It's very easy when you're writing a skit to kind of keep going and going and going. It gets funniest when you start trimming the fat off. Getting rid of all the little bits that, yeah, okay, maybe we don't need that bit, maybe we don't need that bit. And the tighter and more well-resolved skit, tighter and more well-resolved your script is, the better your skit is going to be. It also helps to know your audience. For example, Armageddon is a PG-13 event, so maybe it's not the best time to do a Ninja Sex Party skit or something like that, for example. You can get away with making double entendres and that kind of thing. I know in one of Kylie's skits they referenced Rule 34, which is also a really dated internet reference now. And, the adults in the room got what that meant, the kids went on the rise, and that sort of thing's fine. It's just that kind of fine line you've got to treat. Using audio and your placement on the stage to confirm for the audience actually what's going on is also really helpful. It's really confusing for the audience if, you're just standing there and they're like, are they done? Did they finish? It can help to either change your pose right at the end, turn it facing away, or actually walk off the stage. Little things you can do like that will help your audience understand what's going on a lot more. Props are also a really good way of adding to your skit. Make sure it's something that you can clean up quickly and remove from the stage. One of the coolest things I've seen, which again was also from Anita and her friends, was a skit done in recent years where a character was filling a glass with poison, and as the glass was being filled, the glass lit up from the bottom to the top, so you could see it being filled with liquid, which was really neat, and the crowd loved it. If you get an idea for a story or a line or anything for your skit while you're out and about, write it down, because it's really easy to forget those, and then you'll be really bad at yourself later for forgetting this excellent line that was going to completely make or break the skit. So let's use a real life example. This one coming up from Kylie, me, and Molly. A couple of years back now. It was based on Amon's bad jokes, which was a meme at the time. One of the characters, Amon the villain, was people like to make fun of him for, say, monologuing and making puns while he had everyone in his thrall. Internet memes can be a little bit risky. They can date a skit. I think in this instance it doesn't, because puns are universal, and I will fight anyone who tries to tell me otherwise. But I think at least, bad jokes are something that everyone will appreciate, and anyone who has been in the car fandom, for example, will still get this reference even now. So the beginning of the skit we thought would be Kara and Bolin infiltrating Amon's base. In the middle, Amon corners them and begins telling the bad jokes, and in the end, they're so disgusted with these awful puns, don't blame them, that they actually decide to leave in disgust. There's some really clear markers there for the audience to be able to work out what's going on here. Once they had the bones of the skit, what Kylie did was to start filling the bulk in the middle. So she started out with a bunch of random little thoughts on lines, different types of jokes she wanted to add in, that kind of thing. Like with that sort of thing, it makes it easier if you start filling up like a Google Doc and then cherry picking the bits you do want to use. I often have one doc which has got the ideas and then another doc which has got the actual script, so that I can copy and paste between the two really easily. And the other thing that really helps too is to research, not just all of the awful jokes used in this skit, but also rewatching the source material. There are different ways that characters behave in certain situations. For example, in Kara, when they're faced with danger, Kara is very headstrong and, kind of offended that people are trying to get her down, whereas Bolin tries to politely sweet talk his way out of it, but he's a little bit afraid. The other thing that really helps when writing a skit is to show other people, get a second opinion. What's really outrageously funny to you may not be so funny to other people, or maybe there's something in there that you could trim out. It's not needed anymore. And on that note, trim the fat. I can't get over that enough. I mentioned before, you can use the time limit to help you restrain yourself. If you're under the time limit, even better. It is better to have a short and sweet skit than something that is long and drags out, because people will start losing interest if you are not keeping them engaged the whole time. So read it out loud. Remember all the sound effects, the music, that kind of thing, the pauses. Does it fall within the time frame? Is it too long, too short? Go back and see if there's ways you can simplify things to make them clearer to the audience. Treat it like you would like an essay, which is maybe not a good comparison because everyone hates doing essays, but it's the closest comparison I can make for you. And that's the usual process that at least Kylie and I use. And it's not the only way to do it, but it works pretty well for us at least. Here's that skit that we were talking about.
All right, this is it. No more running from Amon. Tonight, we're going to take him down.
And any of those equalists that stand in our way.
I know I can't keep running, but the idea of Amon taking away my bending just...
Cora, it's okay. You got me and Pablo to back you up. And there's no way that Bolin's letting Amon harm the prettiest, funniest girl around. Because I know, without a doubt, if anyone can beat Amon, it's you, Cora.
Thanks, Doc.
Good evening, Avatar. So good of you to join us this evening. Lieutenant, play my theme. No, that's not it. All right, cut it off. Seize that. Don't be too quick to fight back, Avatar. Remember, my equalists are expert G-Rockers.
Look, Mr. Amon, sir, this is really nice of you to go through all this trouble to greet us on your spooky PA system.
Oh, welcoming you this way is only the beginning. Tonight, Team Avatar is going to be the first to hear what I've been planning and working on for months.
What are you up to, Amon?
Folks, I have a lot to say about the final pro banding tournament. You see, the Wolfbats weren't breaking rules. They were bending them. Bending them. What did my parents say when they died? Help! I'm on fire. Because firebenders kill my parents.
This is awful.
So, it seems Asami is jealous of Cora.
No! Stop it!
At least she won't get bent out of shape. Because she's not a bender. Is this thing on? Lieutenant, this is a tough crowd.
That's enough, Amon. Is this seriously the big threat Republic City is worried about? I'm the Avatar. The Avatar. I don't have time to mess around with someone doing amateur.
Are you kidding me? This guy knows his stuff.
What did Cora and Mako do on their date?
Let's get out of here. Come on, boy.
But I wanted to hear.
Anyone? They went bowling. Waka waka. Oh, so funny.
One of the things that really makes that skit is the audio. And audio is another really important part. All of these things are important. Who am I kidding? If you're unfamiliar with audio, you're interested in learning a few tips and tricks, I've got an info sheet put together by our friend Maddie, which is on my cosplay page at the moment. If you want to go find it, my cosplay page is Jayveeka. That's it there. Don't expect you to read it in the next 5 seconds while it's still on the screen. Go find it later. But in any case, you can use any program with audio capabilities to edit your skits and to record them. I use GarageBand just because I use a Mac that came with it, but Audacity is a really popular one that's free and it's really well known. There's lots of tutorials and that kind of thing out there. Really, what matters though is not what software you use, but what you do with it. There's 3 main factors that contribute to the audio of a skit. That's clear audio, distinct voice acting, and music or special effects. Clear audio is important because the audience needs to to understand what you're saying. There are a few easy tricks that you can do to help in this one, some more obvious than others. First, one of the obvious ones, record in a quiet place. If there's someone watching TV, ask them to turn it off for half an hour. It'll reduce the white noise and it'll make your audio way clearer. Secondly, use an external microphone rather than the built-in microphone in your machine. Built-in mics always sound tinny, and whether you use a SingStar mic, that's even a thing these days, or a $10 cheap one from, I just don't say Dick's, but that's also like a 10-year-old reference. You'll get way better sound if it's an external mic. And third, try record in a place which has got a lot of soft surfaces, like a bedroom. These soft surfaces absorb noise and echoes and reverb, which also helps reduce white noise and tinniness. If you record in, say, a bathroom, it might be quiet, but you're going to get all of the sound you're making go ching, ching, ching off the tiles and the hard surfaces, and it's not going to work out well for you. You'll also need to watch out for particular mouth sounds that the mic teams can pick up, like puff noises are really fun to work with because they're really easy to catch badly on the mic. And peaking is another thing which makes the audio go bad. It's when you talk so loudly that the mic starts to kind of crack out on you, and I can't even replicate it on this one. It happens all the time on computers though. But again, all of those details are on the handout that I talked about just before. Distinct voice acting makes it much, much easier for your audience to follow your skit. When watching you on stage, because you're lip syncing, it can be hard to see whose mouth is moving, and if all the voices in the skit sound the same, then it's even harder for people to tell which character's talking. If you're the male character in your skit and you're a soft-spoken lady, get someone with a stronger, deeper, masculine voice. If you have 3 characters in your skit, get 3 different people to voice them. Or, if you've got one person voicing 2 people, make sure that one is really, really distinctively different from the other so that you can tell the difference between the 2. The other make or break factor is background music and special effects. When you watch the source material, they always have music in the background, and special effects, sound effects, and that kind of thing. And when the characters swing their swords, it goes clang, but in real life, you don't have that option. Fortunately, with pre-recorded audio, we can make that happen. It transports you from being just some random people dressed up in costume on a stage to being in like a real situation, fake real situation, something that people can see as being more than just someone on a stage. Using music from the soundtrack or the source material is great because it's always going to be the right kind of tone for what you're going for, but any kind of instrumental music with the right mood will work, and you can find free sound effects online, like on YouTube or other websites. They're really good to add a little bit of funk to your skit. The only thing is to be careful to make sure that you hit the music and the special effects quiet enough so that they don't drown out your dialogue. As an example, here's a snippet from a skit we did a few years back where I've gone back and I've deliberately redubbed it badly. I've removed the music and the sound effects and redubbed the audio with just one person's voice for all 3 characters.
Rupees! I detect that this upsets you. Oh, I'm used to it by now. Link's mind always wanders. He's such a daydreamer. Only green ones stink. I understand where Miss Zelda is coming from. Even though we are on a quest, 87.5% of the time he insists on mowing someone's lawn with his sword. Don't worry, Kikui, I'll save you. Oh, it's not just that. He has this odd habit of chasing moving objects or doing odd jobs. I found him dusting someone's house once.
So when you watch it like this, the skit's kind of flat. It's hard to tell who's talking. You can barely tell that Link's chasing a chicken in the background, whereas when we jazz it up a little bit.
Zelda, I'm so glad we found you. Your father's been so worried and tall grass, free rupees.
I detect that this upsets you. I'm used to it by now. Link's mind always wanders. He's such a daydreamer.
Only green ones stink.
I understand where Miss Zelda is coming from. Even though we are on a quest, 87.5% of the time he insists on mowing someone's lawn with his sword.
Don't worry, Kikui, I'll save you.
Oh, it's not just that. He has this odd habit of chasing moving objects or doing odd jobs. I found him dusting someone's house once.
So the music here tells us it's a light-hearted skit, and the sound effects tell us what Link's doing in the background, which is where the comedy of the skit is coming from these days. And even though I voiced both female characters, I put on distinctly different voices for them, and even use a voice changer on fees, so they sound like they're different people. The difference between the two is hopefully pretty obvious, and I really recommend people develop their audio like this for every skit that they do. Having great writing and audio makes a huge difference, of course, but even the best skit in the world can fall flat on its face if you don't perform it well, which leads to our next section, performance. So you've written a great skit, done fantastic recording with sound effects and music, but you're in the judging room and on stage later and you've forgotten to practice. Solo entries, groups, everybody needs to practice their skit. It can take an average skit and make it amazing, and it can take an amazing skit and make it crap if you don't practice. It gets your timing down, it can help you learn the lines better for your lip sync, and the more you practice, the better. One of the advantages of being a solo performance actually is that you don't have to have anyone else to practice with. So if you are doing a solo skit, make the most of that. Groups can be a bit harder, especially because a lot of people will cosplay together from different parts of the country, but people can still practice on their own. And if you have to, get everyone together in the hotel room the night before and run through it 3 times in the cramped hotel room, just so you're all on the same page. You all know who's going to be where, you're not going to run into each other or anything like that. Use of the stage can also make a difference in your performance. Most Armageddon conventions have different stage sizes. Auckland has one that is enormous. Wellington's one, if you've seen it, is quite tiny. So you need to use it to your advantage and not congregate to one side or be so far apart that people on cameras in the audience can't actually get you all at once, because that always sucks when you're trying to find videos of your skit later. If there's someone or like a thing which is meant to be stationary in the center of the stage, then make sure that that's in the center of the stage. It sounds obvious, but it's harder to do than it sounds. And then once you've got that person there, use them as your marker to set everyone else up around them. In the video you're going to see soon, which was me, my brother, and a friend of ours, Stella, a couple of years back, there's a bit of off balance between me and Stella. One of us is off to the side, and it's not that fluttering look on stage. It doesn't ruin the skit by any means, but it throws off the symmetry, and it really would have been better if we'd thought a little bit more about our positions at the time. Levels are another thing, which can be really helpful for performance. And here we're not talking about audio levels, but actually physical levels on the stage. If you have 3 people who are all standing 1, 2, 3, all at the same height, it's not very interesting to look at, especially if you're all in that position at the same time for the whole skit. Having people ducking down or leaning across, up and down, it's literally vertical levels. It makes it way more interesting. It gives a lot more dimension. This can also be taken advantage of for like lighting stances and that sort of thing. It's really easy to make up reasons to use different levels of different light skit. Spatial awareness is really important too. This doesn't just mean being aware of how you're moving, but also your fellow performers and how your props move. Having a keyblade that you swing and rest over your shoulder is not great for the person who's standing right behind you, for example, when you smack them in the face. It's also something that's really important to keep in mind on convention floors, but I think we all hopefully know that. With that said, here's the skit that I mentioned before. It uses examples of levels, dance, humour reasonably well, but there are also things that can be done to improve on it, like using the stage better, centering things, the actors, and practicing a little bit harder, like with this panel even.
Do you really think it's you? Yes, I sense a great presence in this cave. Look, a crystal. Is this what you were sensing? Rosa, do you know what this is? Sealed inside this crystal is the god of love. The god of love. If we could release him, then the world would be at peace again, and Cecil wouldn't have to fight anymore. Can you do it? The seal is too strong. I don't have the power to remove it alone, and the rest of my tribe is... Oh, Lydia. Well, I'm a mage. I could lend you my power. You'd do that? Okay, well, follow my lead. Release your magic, and...
that's kind of all I had prepared to talk to you guys about today. Are there any questions that anyone wanted to ask? That's always a no. I've asked it anyway, but it's always a no. Oh, in that case, I really hope you guys enjoy Armageddon this weekend. If you're interested in other cosplay events outside Armageddon, I'd also like to give a quick shout out to an event which I'm helping to organise called Play by Play. They're running an event called Cosplay by Play in the middle of April. Sweet little cosplay competition, video games, prizes, awesome, exciting. You should check it out if you're into video game cosplay specifically.